Yeah, so we are going to do an experiment here. Can I have the computer screen, please? All right, okay. So basically, what we're going to be playing with is something we've been doing in a bunch of places all over the world. This is very much an experiment, okay? This ties into a project that I've been working on. Basically, I started to feel constricted by running times in terms of writing for a 3-act structure of a screenplay. For those who don't know, I make films, I design games, I do television. And I started to feel kind of constricted by some of the limitations of those formats, and I wanted to kind of roll up my sleeves and see what it would be like to actually start making participatory stories, you know, to shape collective narratives and see what it was like to collaborate with those formerly known as the audience. And so effectively I put together a trilogy of projects. We launched the first one last fall. It was called Robot Heart Stories. You probably heard about it earlier today when Ingrid talked about it. That project was the first incarnation of 3. The second one, which is called Wish for the Future, is what we're going to be doing here today. So just to kind of set it up effectively, we've done these sessions, although I have to say this is the largest one we've ever done. We've done it with like 100 people. We've done them with kids and done them with adults and done them with kids and adults. And we've had kids run teams of adults, and they have really interesting management styles. And then some of the kids start firing all the adults, and we're left to try to figure out how to solve what's going on. But we've been doing them pretty much all over the world. It's very much it's kind of like an open design challenge. Everything that we're going to do here today is going to be released under a Creative Commons license, and I'll explain to you what I mean by that as we go through. But effectively, the core of this is really at this idea of purposeful storytelling. You know, it looks at this idea of, especially within interactive and digital storytelling, it's, you have such a fragmented landscape. It's really important to find things that have purpose, because what they can do is they can actually help to bridge the gaps within that fragmentation. So in regards to what we're going to do today, Wish for the Future. I was inspired by this quote by Buckminster Fuller. So in the next hour, we will accomplish this, okay? So let's just read it really quickly. How do we make the world work for 100% of humanity in the shortest possible time through spontaneous cooperation without ecological damage or disadvantage to anyone? We will solve this in 60 minutes, okay? So, but no, this is a really interesting quote because it's a loaded quote. It has a lot of different design questions right within it. So one thing that I've been doing a lot with story is kind of looking at this idea of mixing design thinking with narrative design and game mechanics. And so with this project, Wish for the Future is a project where people can make wishes in 140 characters or less. And they can make them across a number of different categories. Those categories are health, culture, economy, humanity, education, government, urbanization, and sustainability. So if somebody makes a wish in 140 characters or less, then those wishes are granted. They're granted through a creative act of expression. It could be a song, it could be music, it could be a piece of art, it could be a video. But most importantly, we're trying to get them to be collaborative action. So if somebody were to do something around sustainability, maybe it would lead to the creation of a community garden in some way, and then that would be documented. So effectively with these wishes, what happens is once you have the wish, once they're granted, then a certain number of them are actually turned into artifacts. And the way that the project works is the wish, the grant, and the artifact are actually sealed away for 100 years in time capsules. Okay? Those time capsules are connected devices that remind people of what they granted up until the batteries in them die. So they actually message back to all the different people that granted. So anybody that grants a wish will be reminded up until the batteries of those time capsules die. So it's a collective narrative project. And what's really exciting is today we are going to go in about a 60-minute period, which these are examples of some of the sessions that we've run. The ones that are really exciting are the ones that usually involve kids in some particular way. And sometimes they take on very whimsical qualities, like Calvin did this really interesting thing where he was, his wish was to kind of solve world hunger, so he came up with like the largest hoagie that could go across North America, but then he realized that that wasn't very practical. by the time we got to the end. So sometimes they start very whimsically, and then they narrow themselves down and focus. But effectively, what we're going to do is we have 60 minutes, okay? So if we could start the time. Effectively, everything that we're going to do here is going to be documented and placed in time capsules. So all of you are going to be part of something that will be opened in 100 years, no pressure. So in terms of, we have less than 60 minutes, so we've started the time. I should mention, importantly, that this could fail miserably, okay? So I'm just going to put that out there so everybody knows, so it's all out there so we can just have a good time with it. I don't know if that's possible. We'll see, we'll see. So what I need right now is 4 people who have good handwriting skills. Yeah, 4. Can I have 4? Thank you, Michelle. Anybody else has good penmanship? Okay, this is the first challenge. I want to make mention that the only people who have ever been able to break this, and you guys should have no problem because there's way more people sitting in the room, 12-year-olds. They've actually come up with 127 wishes in 5 minutes. No pressure. So what we want to basically do is we want to generate effectively 100 wishes in 5 minutes, okay? So we're going to work off this quote. So these wishes could be anything. They can be absurd, they can be focused, they can be across any category. So what we want to effectively do is kind of focus on that. How do we make the world work for 100% of humanity? So does anybody have a wish in the room? Yes, back there.
Stop animal cruelty.
Stop animal cruelty. Okay, let's, you can write that. Everybody gets kind of a section.
just shout it out. So
Yeah,
if you
just
focus
shout
on
it
that
out,
side
shout it
of the room, you focus on that
Okay,
side.
focus on who can write for you. Okay, faster, please. Faster.
You need to have more, otherwise we'll not reach like 100. In the back of the room over there, there have been made wishes yet?
Benign government.
Benign world government.
Clean water. I heard clean water.
Education for every child.
Education for every child. World peace. Cure cancer. Broadband. Broadband. Cover crafts. Time machine.
Free Wi-Fi everywhere.
Free Wi-Fi.
We have 4 minutes left. 4 minutes.
4 minutes. Write it on that board there. You guys must have more ideas than this. Quickly, please.
Come on, any more ideas? Pizzazz?
A free date with a
I'm not censoring
free
anything,
date with a
so
parent for each child. Did you hear that one? Free date with
Sorry?
a parent for each child.
3-day weekend.
3-day weekend for all
4-day
parents.
weekend.
There's a parent theme going on over here. Anybody else? Faster, right faster.
Shout, if you're here, shout over there, and if you're there, shout
No
over
more
here.
3D.
What's your one?
Sustainable energy everywhere.
Healthy food. Healthy food. What? Organic food. How about some people in the way
Of
back?
religion.
Just yell them. Yes, you, sir, with glasses. I see your hand on your head. Toilets that flush? Okay, toilets that flush.
Superpowers for everyone.
We might actually have that.
Toilets
already.
of?
We've got superpowers for everybody down
We
here.
have less than 3 minutes. Less than 3 minutes.
Toilets for everyone.
That's a good
you
one.
You can combine that with toilets that flush in the back there.
More wishes.
All wishes come true. Oh, that's a stacked wish.
Culture of
Anybody
solidarity.
else?
Culture of solidarity. No cars.
Politicians that care.
Yes.
Politicians that care.
I'm sorry, what?
A tunnel from England to America.
Oh, hugs and kisses for everybody.
Free museums.
Sorry, I was just thinking of food. Hugs and kisses for everybody. Smile more often. Smile more often.
No totalitarian governments.
2 minutes. 2 minutes.
Non-biased media over here.
Stop the
Housing
exploitation
for
of Africa.
everyone.
How about over here, in the back over here?
2 minutes left. 2 minutes.
Anybody over here? Human what?
Free food for everybody.
Human wings. We have human flight. Human flight.
Less lawyers. Transatlantic tunnel.
Oh, we got some people in the back. Don't neglect our friends in the back. Free whole grain bread. Free whole grain bread.
Ecological energy. Ecological energy.
Minute and a half.
The Space Hotel from over here.
Make love, not war.
People reuse more clothes.
Sorry, I couldn't hear you.
Anybody?
More transmedia conferences.
Enlightenment for all. Enlightenment for all. Pens down, pens down. Okay, okay, thank you very much. Let's have a round of applause for our scribes. Okay, so we're on to our next challenge. I need the following. How many people in the room identify themselves? This is an easy one, storyteller. Okay, can you come here? Okay, who in the room is a hacker? Anybody in the room feel like a hacker? Anybody technologically inclined? Does anybody use a computer? Okay, right there, sir, with your head. Can you come up here, please? I need a game designer. Does anybody design games in the room? Oh, in the back there, the man with the beard. You look like you design games. Come up here. Educator. Anybody an educator in the room? Susie, I don't know who you are, but you've been recommended already. Oh, yeah, look, we're calling on you. Okay, and activist. Anybody an activist in the room? People have to volunteer themselves. Anybody an activist? Anybody feel like they're an activist? Okay, thank you. Come up here. And an entrepreneur. Somebody must be an entrepreneur in the room. No one? Oh, in the back there. I see your hand. Yes, please come up here. Okay. Okay. All you guys need to come up on stage here. Our volunteers need to come up on stage here. Can you come up here? Okay. On to the next thing. All right. This is what the basically prototypers. The future rests in your hands. Okay. Over the over the next 60 minutes, well actually it's less than 60 minutes now, you need to come up with a solution that will grant our wish, okay? The wish should embrace the present and the future. Since time is short, you must always be using your hands while talking, writing, building. So what you guys are going to do to start is you're going to narrow down all those wishes to 3, okay? And you have 5 minutes, okay? So while they're doing that, in this 5-minute part, I need, now that we already got one storyteller, I need like 4 really good storytellers. 4? This is the best part, I think. So, anybody? Oh, I see a hesitant hand up there. Come back here. Yes, yeah, okay. Yes, Michelle, come over here. Anybody else? Anybody else? Yes, come on. How about some diversity? I got all white males here. Someone in the back? Yes, please, please. I'll take 2 more. Storytellers? Yes, I see a hand up there. Yes, miss, if you could come down here. And how many is that? How many do we have here? 4? Okay. Okay, so storytellers. Are all of you here? Okay. And Michelle, can you come up here too? Are you a storyteller as well? No, it's okay. It's okay. Okay. Okay, so storytellers, can you read this? Can you guys read this? The storytellers are going to effectively, you're going to create a story that can be shared with future generations that is intended to bring the wish to life. The story must have a beginning, middle, and end. It will have a protagonist and an antagonist. There will be conflict and supporting characters. Weave the prototype that's being developed into your story as a turning point or solution to the hero's problem. Your protagonist must have an arc so that we can see how the story changes them. Your story must include a time capsule and leave room to be continued. Okay? So if you guys want to mull that over for a second. Yes, if you want to take notes real quick. Okay.
Wasn't it supposed to be doable?
It's a different kind of organization.
Okay, so as we
Time
get
machine.
set
Let's
with
take
the
time
teams
machine.
we're building,
Interesting.
one of the things that's going to be really exciting about what we do today is it's actually going to be passed to a number of elementary school children, and they'll continue whatever you guys develop. So it's going to go on to them, and they will continue the story. And we're effectively passing these stories all over the world.
Okay.
So what we generate today will be given to a number of elementary school students.
All right, Lance, we have made our first selection.
Okay, excellent, excellent. Okay. So I think we want to,
Shout them out, right?
yes.
Okay, so I'm going to give the mic to you. Could you share with the audience the 3 wishes that you've pre-selected for us to start ideating around?
Okay, so we've gone for community, not nation, daily poetry, and time machine.
All right, so we have 3 wishes on the table, but we can only work on 1. So I think we're just going to shout for it, right? Yeah. So we're going to do a vote. Who votes for daily poetry? Yeah! All right. Who votes for communities instead of nations? Community, not nation. Or the time machine? Yeah! All right.
Okay, so we are going to prototype a time machine.
But there's one more. So, are you really sure that we are going to develop a time machine? All right, then we go for a time machine.
Okay. Okay, this is important. Hey, prototypers, can you read that real quick on the screen? Hey, guys, just before you start. Hey, guys, before you start, just read this, okay? Okay, now we're on to the 6th challenge, and I need some people to play with scissors. Okay? I have them in my pocket. So who feels like they're really creative and want to play with scissors? I need 4 people. Yes, if you could come this way. You raised your hand. Okay, and I need 2 more people who are really good with scissors. Yes, if you could come this way. And in the back there, sir, gentlemen, if you could come here. Okay. Notice how I hand them properly. Yes. There you go. Okay. This team is a mystery. We'll find out what they're doing at the very end. Okay. So you're going to take the scissors and mystery team. Was there one other person? Yes, there was one other person. No. They're going to take you somewhere special. There you go. Okay. So. All right, you guys can leave, please. Okay. Okay, within this next part is going to involve everybody that is still in the room here, okay? So there are a number of things that are hidden under your seats, okay? So if everybody could look under their seats. Now, when you find it, please do not open it, okay? Do not open it. And just raise your hand once you find something, please. No, that's not it. Has anybody found anything under their seat? Okay, can you stand up, please? Anybody else find something under their seat? Okay, great. We have 2 people here. Okay, anybody else find something under their seat? Okay, great. Anybody else? Can you stand up, please? If you found something in the back there under your seat? Okay, anybody over here? Okay, we have one here, and okay. All right, so what we're going to do, the people who have those envelopes at the top of the room, okay? When I tell you, we're gonna start in the center, okay? So you guys, no, stay in your seats, please. Please do not move. This is a point where everybody should take note of where the exits are. No, I'm just kidding. So, okay, in the back, the gentleman with the glasses. You don't need to talk. We don't have to hear anything from you. In fact, you're whispering. So let's remove that microphone. That'll give it all away. Okay. So, sir, what's going to happen is you have a phrase that's written on that envelope. Can you open that? Don't say it to anybody. And you need to fill in the blank of what that phrase is. Take a moment. And you are going to whisper everybody. It's going to take everybody to
Okay, so
whisper that phrase
R
down
and
to the woman that we have here in the front. Can you stand up again with your... Okay, so we need to get to her, but you can't use a straight line. Okay? And everybody is going to take a turn, or not everybody, but whatever the straightest line, sorry, not straight, zigzag, however you need to get the phrase to this woman in green here, or with the green envelope here. Okay, so are you ready, sir? This is just whispering. And if you want to whisper, whoever you want, everybody watch how these guys do this. No pressure.
Found a kangaroo who needs to.
Yeah, no, you whisper the whole phrase. Sorry, you whisper the whole phrase. Did you, sir, did you whisper the whole phrase? All right, we're in motion. Thank you for asking. Okay, this is going to take them a little bit of time. So we're going to come over here and we're going to do it here. Wendy, can I have you stand up? So we need to do the same thing on this side. So you will read that phrase, take a moment, and whisper it all the way down to here. Okay? No.
So we've got offsides.
Yes. Yeah, you don't have to worry about it. You'll write it down. Okay, let's start it on this side. We had the two envelopes here. Can the two people who had the envelope stand up, please? Have you had a chance to consider what you would fill in the blank with? Okay, if you want to start whispering your way down to the lady here in the front row. Okay, we're just waiting for the whisperers to whisper. Hey, whisperers, let's speed it up. Time's ticking. Faster whispers. You guys take note of the way that you actually whispered it. Can everybody raise their hand in the center who actually whispered? Because I want to see the whole path. Now, can we, what we're going to do here is we're going to start and Miss over here, if you can read to us, can we give her a microphone, please? Can you read what your statement is?
Please be aware, handle with care, this lottery ticket will ripple and tear.
Can you, can the gentleman in the back, can we give him a mic so he can actually tell us what the statement was?
Please be aware to open this with care, or the winning lottery ticket will tear.
That was very close, that was very close. Okay, let's do the center here.
There is a story in there, and there is a kangaroo.
There's a story in there, and there's a kangaroo. Okay, all right. Let's hear what the initial statement was.
I am a blue sprinter who went to the zoo and lost my shoe. Found a kangaroo who needs to bounce to return home.
And can we have you read, Wendy?
If I could have stayed up all night, I would have been the best.
And can we hear what it was?
If I would be this prototype, I might put up a fight all night and by using magic power make things right.
Okay, so what we want to do is we want to take these statements. The statements that you guys have are going to affect the design of what's going on, okay? Prototyping team? Here's one of your first disruptions. You have to incorporate that into your prototype. Good luck. Okay.
We're going to give everybody an update on where you are. And they've just made a final decision on what they're going to actually create. So I'm going to hand the mic to somebody at the table. And if you could please share with the audience what you've been doing so far, what the deliberations have been, and what your decision has been now, what you are building.
Okay,
Yeah.
so the time machine. We've decided that the time machine will be a box. It will have a button in it, and it will connect people because there is a theory that everybody has a doppelganger or some duplicate who's living similar experiences to you. So maybe you could jump forward in time and maybe somehow you could be put into their body so that you can experience life from a forward position, but as yourself. That's our idea.
Okay, okay, excellent, thank you.
Can you change the future?
Can you change the future?
What is your definition of reality?
That's good, that's good.
What if there's more than one doppelganger?
What if there's more than one doppelganger?
A question that might be helpful is, do you have to find a doppelganger or can you just make your own?
Okay, do you have to find a doppelganger or can you make your own?
Do you get a big tub of ice cream when you finish your time journey?
Do you get ice cream when you finish your time journey? That's an important one. Do you get ice cream when you finish your time journey? And let's, since you had, we'll let her go too. Okay. We have a gentleman there who's, can you guys pass to...
Can you specify the date and time that you're going to, or is it a leap of faith?
No answering, please. Okay. Yes, yes.
Is there just one time machine or anybody can have one?
One time machine or anybody can have one? Is there just one time machine or can anybody have one? Okay, yes, really quickly.
Can the doppelgangers communicate with each other, like through mobile devices?
Okay, can the doppelgangers communicate with each other through mobile devices?
All right, I'm going to take the storytellers in now.
Okay,
Yeah?
can we come back to the podium laptop, please? Okay, so with this, we're going to play a game here. And we need all you guys who are in the audience. Effectively, what our two friends here from the storytelling team need to figure out is they want to try to figure out some more information about the prototype, okay? So they have questions that they formulated. You guys will basically determine if the answer is yes, no, or maybe, okay, to the questions that they ask. So we'll see a show of hands for yes, and then we'll see a show of hands for no, and then we'll see a show of hands for maybe, okay? So, so let's start. If you guys want to read the question.
Is it an object?
Okay, can I see a show of hands for yes? Is it an object? Can I see a show of hands for yes? Okay, can I see a show of hands for no? Okay, can I see a show of hands for maybe? Okay, yes has it.
Is it a technological device?
Is it a technological device? Can I see a show of hands for yes? Okay, can I see a show of hands for no? Can I see a show of hands for maybe? Okay. The answer is yes.
Is it done today and used from today?
Is it made today and used from today? Can I see a show of hands for yes? Can I see a show of hands for no? Okay, can I see a show of hands for maybe? Maybe has that one. See a show of hands for maybe. Maybe has that one.
Is it, does it have a limited span of action in terms of numbers of years it can go in the past and or into the future?
Limited span of time that it can travel in the past and the future. Can I see a show of hands for yes? Show of hands for no? Show of hands for maybe? And no has it.
Is it a technology that is received from the future?
Is it a technology that's received from the future? Can I see a show of hands for yes? Okay, can I see a show of hands for no? Can I see a show of hands for maybe? Okay, maybe has that one.
Can only a human, one single individual travel, or a group?
Is it for one human or a group? Show of hands for yes?
Only for an individual. Only for an individual.
Oh, only for an individual. Sorry, I missed that question. Can I see a show of hands for yes? Can I see a show of hands for no? How about maybe? Maybe wins.
Can a group travel with it?
Can a group travel with it? Show of hands for yes. Show of hands for no. Show of hands for maybe. All right, maybe wins again.
Can we come back to the point of departure?
Can we come back to the point of departure? Show of hands for yes. Okay, show of hands for no. Show of hands for maybe. Okay, yes has that.
Can we carry things in it?
Can we carry things in it? Show of hands for yes. Show of hands for no. And maybe? Okay, I think maybe has it. That was close.
Do you need to be trained to use it?
Do you need to be trained to use this time machine? Can I see a show of hands for yes? Okay, can I see a show of hands for no? Can I see a show of hands for maybe? Okay, no has that.
Is it painful, or does it have physical or medical consequences to use it?
Is it painful? Does it have medical or physical consequences to use it? Yeah, can I see a show of hands for yes? Okay, can I see a show of hands for no? And maybe? Yes. It's good there's confidence.
Is it expensive to use it?
Is it expensive to use it? Can I see a show of hands for yes? Can I see a show of hands for no? Can I see a show of hands for maybe? No wins that one.
And can it change anything in the future?
Can it change anything in the future? And this is the last question. Can we see a show of hands for yes? Can you see a show of hands for no? Show of hands for maybe. Yes, it can change things. Okay, thank you very much, storytelling team. Okay, now can we distribute to everybody the cards that we have that are wish cards for everybody in the room? Everybody will get a wish card, and if you don't have a pen, let us know and we will give you a pen. We need you guys to fill these out for us. These are your wishes for the future. And keep in mind that these will be placed in a time capsule and unearthed hopefully in 100 years. So have fun with it. Everybody, we're going to pass these bags. You need to take one ball out of it, okay? Can everybody just take a single ball and hold on to that?
We are going to create a collective wish as well, or collaborative wish, so you will. And we are going to not write that down, but we are going to embody that in a thing that we are going to create together. That's what we are going to use the Play-Doh for. So everybody needs to have like a small ball, an M&M Play-Doh kind of thing. So as soon as we've passed that around, we are going to start creating that. We've been talking a lot, we've been sharing a lot of ideas on the future, on wishes, on the time traveling device that we are creating and how we could use that to improve the world and make it work for 100% of humanity. Which means that you are now all informed with opinions, ideas from everybody that was present in this room, from the prototyping team as well. And we are now going to embody all that information. And that requires a little bit of trust from everybody in the room to stop thinking and start creating. Start thinking about all the information that you've heard. Start thinking about the prototype that you've heard. Start thinking about the possible future that we have imagined together and the wishes that we've created. And use your hands while you think. And then what we are going to do is a game called, did we put up the slide yet? Pass the Play-Doh. So we have 3 sections in this audience. We have the right section over there. We have the center section and we have the left section over here. We are going to start all the way in the back, and I suggest we start. Does somebody over there in the back have Play-Doh yet? Does anyone in the back have Play-Doh? In this left-hand side, you people in the back have Play-Doh yet? Oh yeah, I see you playing with that. All right, we're going to start with the gentleman who's right near the emergency exit. Could you raise your hand? Yes, that's you. We are going to start with you. You have the next 10 seconds to create something, and you pass that to your neighbor. The neighbor adds you add your ball to his creation, and then you pass it on all the way till it reaches the front. You understand? Yeah? All right, start passing it around. So do you have a piece of Play-Doh as well? Yeah? You do the same thing. You start thinking about the wish for the future, start molding something and hand it to your neighbor in the next 10 seconds. And we move all the way, so this is going to be a real challenge, this is a big section. We're going to move all the way to the front here. Just add your little piece of Play-Doh to whatever you get. Adapt your thinking to it and put it on there. And then over here on the right hand side, does the gentleman right near the emergency exit have a piece of Play-Doh? Yes. Alright, start molding in the next 10 seconds your solution for the future. Pass it to your neighbor and then all the way to the front. And just trust that all the information is in your hand, and whatever you receive from your neighbor, add your piece of Play-Doh to it. Don't think about it, just act and react to whatever you get. Yes? So, and we're going to put the time pressure on. 5 minutes to get that thing of Play-Doh all the way to the front here. So, you have less than 5 seconds per person to think about that. Where's the Play-Doh? Okay.
That looks beautiful.
2.5 minutes, ladies and gentlemen, so move, move, move. Less time to think. All right, we have 2 minutes left. We have multiple starting points. All right, a big hand for the storytelling team. They've done work outside of the room.
Still playing? Oops, not.
Just real quick, this is the room's collaborative. This is what you guys created with the Play-Doh. Okay. All right. Okay, so you can move that. Okay. All right. Okay, we're up to the part where we're going to start to share what's actually been created by the different teams that are working on this. Okay, and so what you guys have done with this Play-Doh that's in the room here is going to be passed, and it's going to be the starting elements of what the kids will actually make use of. So they'll build from what you guys have done. So nice work. It's awesome. So congratulations to the room. Thank you. Okay, so who is going to present from the storytelling team? Okay. You want to come over here, sir?
Okay. So we don't know what they've done.
That's correct.
Okay.
This is where we find it all out.
Okay. So, Australia. Some 160 years into the future, all of Australia has been terraformed and is now essentially one megacity from coast to coast. What has happened, of course, is as the culture and the country has become more technologically advanced and urbanized, there has been at the same time a reaching back into the historical spirituality of Australia, and now Aboriginal spiritual ideas are now built in to future Australian society. Dreamtime is a big part of that culture, but they have developed time machine technology which actually enables descendants to literally travel back into the past to commune with their ancestors as the Aboriginals would have done in the Dreamtime. Our protagonist is a 16-year-old girl called Gaga, who is fulfilling a rite of passage, as all 16-year-old Australian kids are meant to do, which is to use the time machine to go back in time to meet her great-great-grandmother, who lives in the contemporary period, Kylie. Kylie lives on Alice Springs on a sheep station. The kids that go back are told that they are never allowed to reveal who they are or where they come from. They're merely meant to meet and as a friend on a certain level and take in all they can from the past and bring it back. One of the major side effects of the time travel process is major organ damage, and to facilitate this, the future Australian culture is breeding kangaroos, sentient kangaroos, who essentially live like slaves. One of the side effects of their sentient breeding program is that all their hair has fallen out. And our story actually starts as Gaga is going back in time, using the time machine in a ritual. Her family's slave kangaroo, Jeff, who should have been basically patiently waiting for Gaga to return and then have his organs harvested to repair the damage to Gaga, actually leaps through with her into contemporary 2013 Australia, causing a bit of a paradox. Meanwhile, we've been busy. Meanwhile, Kylie, who's just a kid in contemporary Australia, is having problems of her own in that the family sheep station is under severe threat of being bought up and destroyed by our arch villain, Gina Reinhardt. The names will have to be changed. And so, who's the richest woman in Australia and a mining magnate, who's decided that there's gold under the family farm, thereby potentially destroying the future legacy of Gaga. At the same time, Jeff, the kangaroo, now finds himself hairless in an Australia considerably hotter than the one he's left. So he's suffering from sunburn a lot. And Jeff begins to realise, because he's sentient and clever, that if he can get his hands on the time machine device that Gaga actually has on her person, he can travel 2 million years back into the past and actually spawn an entire new race of sentient kangaroos that will wipe out the human race forever.
Thank you very much. Excellent, excellent. So now we're going to go to the prototypers and hear what they have prototyped for us. And now storytellers, you're actually going to hear what the actual prototype is.
Okay, so we started off by designing a machine. We realised that to transport yourself into the body of your doppelganger, then you would need a physical machine to do this. So we have designed a black box and looked at this for some time, coloured it in and made it look beautiful, and then we realised that we've actually designed Doctor Who's TARDIS. So I'm going to hand you over to Betsy.
So then we had, in fact, here at our table, a brilliant game designer who decided that it might be better with us to create a social network experience where we're, in fact, able to mine personal data, especially personal relationship data. And when we mine this personal relationship data, we're creating these cross connections with people where, for example, in the traditional story of boy meets girl, boy has girl, boy loses girl, boy finds girl again. In this particular social networking site, we're linking various different people having various different relationships. And at the moments where you've had similar experiences to someone else, you create a sort of cross explosion where you're able to enter that person's experience and relive it for them. So you're traveling, time traveling into their past and re-envisioning what their experience could have been. This is all, in fact, simply an experience that allows you to begin to open your mind to the fact that you do have parallel choices, parallel options, and in fact, in each of our individual consciousnesses is the ability to time travel. So it's not about a game, it's not about a box, it's about the fact that we each individually already have that ability, and by experiencing this in a virtual game world, we begin to connect with the fact that we in fact have that ability already. So it ends up becoming a consciousness shifting experience that then allows everyone in a completely accessible way to create those experiences in their own home, in their own life.
Can you guys, we're going to see what the scissor team has been doing. Can you guys bring in what you guys have been working on, please? And we'll bring it to the center of the stage here. Here, I'll give you this. Yeah, you can put it there.
Hi.
If you could explain what you were tasked with.
Is it on?
Yeah, if you could explain what you were tasked with.
Well, we've left the sheet behind, so I can just make it up actually. What we were asked to do was to include the instructions that we're going to go into. We're going to include items in a time capsule. And we could choose whatever we wanted to do, but we had to justify it. So the first thing we did was we decided actually we didn't want to put objects in. We wanted to create a perfect society. And we thought, right, we were instructed to reboot the world. And so we could actually make up whatever we wanted and it would be taken at face value. So we decided to create a perfect society and then people would believe it. But then we had to decide what that would be. We decided not to put any objects in it at all, but that the most valuable thing we have in society is our minds, our hearts, and our beliefs. So the first thing we did was include instructions to create a perfect society. So it's going to be a bit controversial, you might not agree with us. It includes 4 steps and assumes that there is no prior knowledge of society and these instructions are taken as the truth. So the first instruction... Actually, we enfolded, right? Yeah, they're going to be enfolded. We probably spent a bit more time on thinking about it than actually building it. Number 1, society functions with all human beings working within a role, helping others without promise of personal gain. Now the reason we put that is because we thought, right, we don't want money anymore, we're going to get rid of money, but obviously we're not trying to create a communist regime, so we thought people will just, yeah, I told you, controversial. But we thought, well, if we get rid of money, then people will start to trade, which is what they used to do. So no personal gain. Number 2, merit and success are not measured by possession or social standing, but by connection and community. Number 3. Don't judge others. And number 4, yeah, this was our example of thinking outside the box. The real reason is because we couldn't fit it in. And the last one is love, as in the verb, to love. We were asked where these should be buried, but we decided that these inspirational truths should not be buried, but they should actually be put on the top of the tallest mountains in each continent. And then we started to think about why we were here today, and that actually we might make it into a game, a digital app to find these boxes, but we kind of got to the end of our session before we'd worked it all out. And that's about it.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And one thing that's really cool is everything that you guys did today will be passed to 109th graders in an at-risk school in New York City. So they will work with what you guys did over a 10-day period, and they'll actually pick up what, I can't say that they're going to incorporate everything, but they will pick and choose the things that they think are interesting, and they'll use it as a way to refine the design and what they're doing, because they're actually going to build a time capsule that's connected. So they're going to build the first one that we actually make. So that's all part of this idea of designing with instead of designing for. So it's intended, this project is intended to be a cross-generational project. So I want to thank everybody. Round of applause for our prototypers, our storytellers, the folks that played the scissors. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So if you guys want, you guys can go back to your seats, and we're going to kind of just do a recap on what we went through and why. And how do we do time-wise? Yeah, exactly. It doesn't matter, right? That's right. Okay, an hour and 10 minutes. That was very good. So all that was completed by you guys collectively in an hour and 10 minutes. So excellent. Can I have this screen back, the podium, please? Okay, so we're going to go through the recap, and we'll kind of both take turns on this. I think some of these things have come from an experience of just kind of running through and doing these. We've been iterating them and trying new things every time that we kind of go out, little nuances and different things. So these are just some takeaways that we've found from doing, I guess we've done about 14 of these so far in the last maybe 6 months. We'll be doing another 10 of them before the year ends all over the world by different people. So, starting in a whimsical way to kind of get you guys towards a future state was like one of the important things, So we started with the 100 wishes, because it's usually hard to get people collaborating with each other, and we had a challenge in terms of the fact that you guys all sat all day, to try to get you engaged. So a lot of the times you kind of start whimsically and then you work your way into some degree of focus. We wanted to start with relatively clear objectives, which I think the Fuller quote helps us to anchor in. What is the goal and why does it require everybody? One of the things about what we did with you guys is an exercise in agency, right? Like, you've heard all day about the audience, you've heard all these different things. So a lot of this is about how do you collaboratively create something and have everybody feel like they have some degree in agency, of agency within what was actually created. So, people found it amusing when the kangaroo made its way into the story, and the fact that that was actually something that was whispered and actually kind of truncated in that case in terms of what was the story from the back to the front. So a lot of this is about that idea of giving agency to something. Often, creativity rests at the edge of failure, right? So we came into this and we had no idea how it would scale for this many people. So you're always kind of like, you're trying to find something at that edge and being willing to fail fast, learn from it, and continue to move forward. Do you want to step into that?
Yeah, because this is something that we did with the prototyping team here. We gave them like 4 steps to follow to come to like the tangible thing that they've created. It's an edit process, as we call that. You start with empathy and you try to get all the collective intelligence out. So you have a lot of people, in this case 5 people or 6 people I think, sit down and just share all their ideas about this time machine and this time traveling device that they were tasked with. And as you see on this table and what you've seen through the camera before, they were tasked to write everything down and to make everything visible so that everybody can see literally inside each other's thinking. As soon as you've done that, so everybody's had a go at like, I think the time traveling should be about this, or I think the time traveling device should be like this. Then you start defining your question, the design question. So every good design has to start with a design question. What are you going to create a solution for? And it usually starts with the question, how could? So how could we, and I don't know what the design question is written down here somewhere, how could we make people understand that that time traveling is possible, was the design question that they focused on. So from all the collective ideas that there were, they narrowed it down to that one specific design question. Then they did a round for a couple of minutes on brainstorming solutions, just shout out what that could be. They've written that down as well. And based on all those ideas, they narrowed that down to the one thing that they've created, the black box and the networked intelligence story around that, literally, that you created as well. Testing that is literally by creating it, so all the creations that they've made, that is, you make it tangible and you bring it back to the user perspective, but also, of course, in sharing their outcome with you all is the final test of what their thinking has been. So in 4 easy steps, they start with a wish for a time-traveling device, share their collective intelligence, define what a good design question around that is, ideate ideas, and then test that out in a physical object and explain what they've created to you. So that is the edit process that we use in settings like this.
Oh, and I should make note, I need somebody from the storytelling team to kind of document what their story was for us, and I'll need somebody from the prototyping team to document that, and if I could have the notes or documentation around the time capsule, that would be great as well, because we'll include all those things. You know, the other elements are kind of looking at it and being willing to rapidly adapt to change. We tried to do that throughout the process. There were various disruptions and things that we would do in terms of both with the prototyping team, the storytellers, and those that were making the time capsule. So, and that was also what we did with the Play-Doh exercise that we did, where each of you was kind of building upon it. You know, that idea of kind of rapidly, not only was it rapidly changing as it was moving, but we were trying to get you away from necessarily thinking solely about it and actually executing on it. Do you want to take a second?
Yeah, the what, how, and why. There's a guy called Simon Sinek who has developed a theory about this. I think it's the golden circle of it's called the Golden Circle, a book that he wrote. But he says that, you know, every innovation and every innovation process should start with the question why, but we often forget that question, like why do we do things? So with the time capsule team, we instructed them with a couple of questions that they needed to answer, like, so what were they creating? And that is, of course, the physical thing that they made. How could you use it? So we've asked that question. But the most important question that, unfortunately, that didn't have enough time for, I think, is why would you create this? And why do you do what you do? So those three types of questions. The what question is usually very superficial. The how question digs a little bit deeper into what the mechanics are. But truly understanding why you do stuff is the most important question to answer. But especially from a day-to-day basis, we forget to answer that question. And then, you know, the best innovation happens when you have an answer to that why question. So that's what we try to insert in that exercise that they did. What, how, and why.
And then within the setting, the time constraints, we tried to follow along with the clock, but a lot of times creativity really comes from like a pressure situation where you kind of stop thinking and you almost start acting. And one of the things that we wanted to do to fuel that is when we called together the prototyping team, we purposely picked people from different disciplines. As you do more larger interactive based work and you're telling stories, the teams that you work with are drastically changing. What used to be for me like a production designer or a DP or a producer has now shifted to a creative technologist, a data scientist, you know, various programmers, community managers, so forth and so on. So it's nice to get a varying perspective, so we wanted to incorporate that as well. You know, bring everybody together for recaps and set goals. I think, you know, the feedback loops and the different things that you try to work within your design process are very, very important. You know, make it tactile. It's something as simple as Play-Doh or just that idea. Like a lot of times we'll start projects out where we'll run things similar to this for very large projects that we do and get stakeholders together and a mixture of people that normally aren't in the same rooms and actually get them using their hands. Reward often. You know, we tried to reward within this with very small things, but with audiences, those degrees of reward can be a variety of different things. They can just be acknowledgement of somebody's ability or what they've done status-wise, currency that way, or, you know, in the case of what we were doing today, hopefully the reward of seeing everything kind of come together at the end of an hour.
And I also think the asking questions, did you talk about that? When you were asked to ask questions to the prototypers, but they couldn't answer, it was kind of like acknowledging your existence and for the prototypers to use those questions in the design. Because usually when you are asked a question about something you create, you start defending whatever decision you've made, and then you don't rework that in your prototype. And very often if you're not allowed to answer the question, you actually start thinking about why and what you are doing and start incorporating that.
And then I think hopefully have fun. You know, that's kind of the idea at the end of the day, to have fun. And then the last part would be to share the results. So in order to share the results, we have one last thing that we need to do. We need to take group photographs. So if we can have the photographer and if we can have somebody hold this box here in the front, we're going to do a wide angle shot of everybody that participated. Okay, everybody? All right. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you. Give it back to Liz.